McCaig with JesusChristTrust.net, the church that exposes all the truth that's hidden, all of it. I'm not going to leave anything out. Why would someone who's been given the ability to be a prophet leave something out? No, no, no. And let's get to the heart of the matter, right? What did Jesus do that, like, when he got really riled? He flipped the tables on the money lenders. Is that right? Yeah, me too. That's right. Every debt by every lender is collected illegally in the United States. Every debt by every lender, every creditor, every bank, every credit card, all of them. It's all collected illegally against their own laws. Okay? It's several ways it's illegal. Several ways. Let's go over one of the ways today, okay? You get this information of how to remove debt in the debt forgiveness information. Make a donation to the church to get the information. And then we have a private forum you get in, right? Here, the classroom. And you just jump in there, another login, and then ask any questions you have of me. I'd moderate in there. It's a private forum. It's not public. So if you have any questions as you go through this process, just type them in there and I help you out. Okay? So let's go over. This is what happens when you go in court sometime. Pretty often. You know, I've done 50 court cases against the bankers. So I'm pretty well versed in it. Someone says something like, "Oh, did you spend the money?" Let's say you're like fighting credit card debt. You know what I mean? Like, the bank doesn't sign anything. The bank never signs a piece of paper. Do you understand that? They don't sign a piece of paper. If someone, like, if you're the only party that signs a contract, who's the only party that can change that contract? Well, you're the only guess. You got the only signature on it. The bank never signs, so you just say, "Hey, I don't know you," and that's the law. Okay? Well, you sign the contract, and you say you don't know, so that's it. That's it. That's the law. That's their laws. You see, what is, if you look up 5 elements of a contract, you see there's mutual assent expressed by a valid offer and acceptance. Where's their acceptance? Where do they sign? Where do they go, "Oh, okay"? Where do they put their, someone culpable for their evil? No one signs, so no one's culpable. They just totally get off the hook. And courts are fake. They're just enslaving you to the bankers, all of them. They all know, and everyone that works at every single court everywhere in America, every single one of them, absolutely knows they worship the devil. They know. You think they don't know. You think that a government worker doesn't know they worship the devil. You're making it. You just don't understand anything about this life. You understand nothing because you've done nothing. And I understand that, but that's why I'm trying to help tell you the truth. Because you don't understand because you never interacted with them enough. I have. They've told me straight to my face. They all worship the devil. They've said it individually. They've said it in a group. They all do. What? All the cops do? They told me too. They do. If you think it's otherwise, you're simply wrong because you just haven't decided to have that experience. You're just going off your programming. Like, you watch too much TV. Like, they all have good cop shows. It's like, what? a good Give me a break. They're all enslaving you to the bankers. How do they do that? With police. You wouldn't listen to a banker, or you owe a whole bunch of money. Not unless they had the cops behind them in the military and stuff like that. Of course, they're powerless. I've proven that. But I'm just saying, it's not the bankers. It's not, the rest of it. It's the ones holding the guns. It's the enforcers. They're the most culpable and going to the deepest pit of hell. And they earned it. They deserve it. They have to go there because they're so stupid, right? They're so stupid. They're like, "Oh, you're helping people. Oh, I'm helping people that are great. I'll do anything you say." Because what happens when you follow orders, right? Where you're in the military or police, you follow orders. And so what happens when you do that? You decide what? Not to become human. You go back to the animal state. You're trained, law dog. You put, you're an animal. You're not human. Because this is what police are supposed to be, right? This is what they're supposed to be. Law enforcement, right? That's what they call themselves, law enforcement. If you were to ask any police officer, anyone, any, doesn't matter, every single one in America, right? You're law enforcement, yes. Okay, well, that means what? You have to remember all the laws. Just, you have to remember all the laws. Think of how hard that would be. Now, let's go back to reality, right? Because that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to remember all the laws that apply to them equally. That's their job. They're not supposed to take orders. No, they're supposed to. They're law enforcement. There's a book of rules. We follow those rules. We don't follow our leader. We don't do that. Yeah, whatever. They simply follow orders. They never follow the law. You could tell this by one thing. Ask any police officer to, as they're standing anywhere, right, recite any law to me. Just simply recite a law word for word. I'll look it up and we'll see if you get it right. Are they capable of doing that? No, not one single one of them. Law enforcement is a hoax. It's a hoax, okay? Just like debt is. Just like every single thing around you is a hoax. Everything is a lie. You're at Disney World. Disney World isn't real. Not one single thing in there. Nothing is real. And that's where you are. You're at Disney World. Okay. So this is what happens when you get in court, right? The judge goes, yeah, but did you spend the money? Who cares? This is how you answer that question. That's not relevant, right? That is not relevant, right? Why? Debt is bought and sold all the time, isn't it? Here, look, this is Office of Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, whatever, right? They know this is a government. The government. Oh, debt buyers buy debt. What is a debt buyer? Somebody that buys some some debt from some other business. And you get it. It says right here. They generally don't buy the old, pieces of paper or anything like that. See? Purchase for electronic file. Okay. So how would you, okay, as someone who wants to pay off a debt, right? How would you know if they haven't resold the debt? You see what I'm saying? You can buy and sell debt all the time. It says it right here. And so if someone in the courtroom doesn't have the documents with their signature on it, and, okay, yeah, that's not your signature because you bought the debt. Okay, where's the chain of title? Those documents that give you title to that debt, and where's the signature of the originating party, right? In other words, the bank never signs anything. So you simply ask for their signature. Where is it on the document? Oh, you bought it from X, Y, or Z. Okay, well, where's their signature? And where's the signature on the contract where you bought it from them and their signature too? Because there has to be a contract that you bought it. That's the law. That's the law of a contract. That is the law. Or else what? How can you tell who owns any debt that you owe? You can't tell. 10 people could own it at one time. You could pay off this thing. This guy has electronically and somebody else comes the next day. And this happens all the time. Do you see what I'm saying? This happens all the time. I paid it off, but, now someone else says I owe them the same amount. Uh-huh. Absolutely. How could you know unless you got the original records to make sure they can't be sold again? You see to say in a data stream, that doesn't, where are the documents? You follow? And you look at the original document. Oh, the money's owed. The bank signed. I signed. The debt is owed. And here's a chain of title. You sold it to X, Y, or Z. That, there's their contract. That, signature on the contract. There's your... There's none of that. We are required to do that. Say if you're selling a car or whatever. Yeah, you got to have a chain of title. How do you... Oh, here's... To go with the title, there's got to be, a bill of sale. You sold it, both signatures. Okay, you agree. Okay, yeah. Look, here's the piece of paper. They agreed. The title changed. That's it. Where? How do you know who owes a debt unless there's some paperwork to prove it? That's just their laws. I don't make up their laws, and their laws in this case make sense. Just think about it. How can you tell unless you're like, okay, where's the paperwork, right? I'm an accountant, right? I'm trained accountant. 2 master's degrees, one in accounting, one in MBA, business administration, right? Okay, and my undergraduate's in business and finance, and I've been in business for decades. So, this is simply their business law rules. What? They don't follow them. So this is what you ask. You ask them to follow them. You see what I'm saying? It's like, well, Your Honor, how could I know? Right? How could I know if I owe this bill unless they have the documents? Because they're debt buyers. Did you buy this set? Yeah. So how do I know you didn't sell it? They'd be like, well, we didn't sell it. I have to go by your word. This is a paperwork situation where we're in court, and you're going to take their word over mine. You're taking their word, and you're going to give them my money based on pieces of paper that none of their information is on. They don't even have pieces of paper. They have nothing that don't relate to them. They just say they own them. They have no documentation to prove ownership. None. It's made up. And if the court, doesn't follow that, then obviously courts are fake. It's simply, and this is the fact of the matter. This is the fact that is for everyone inside this world, right? Banking, debt, right? Debt, money, the use of money is slavery. Human slavery and human trafficking in the name of the devil. Literally, that's exactly what it is. And everyone in that courtroom knows it. Every single one of them. And you know what they say to me? What are you going to do about it? That's what they say. They just look at me like, what are you going to do about it? They know. They don't care that I know. They just simply say to my face, what are you going to do about it? Like, you can't do anything. You're just a stupid slave. Shut up and be a slave. That's what they have to say to me to my face. They don't follow the laws. They do take orders from the devil. And that's all that's going on in this life, and not one other single thing is going on. Nothing else is going on in this life. Do you get that? The only thing you can do is try and get out of your enslavement to the devil, and it's not easy because they do not follow their own rules and laws. They don't do it. They simply follow slavery. You're their slave. Shut up and do what you're told. That's it. Until you switch your affiliation and change it, right, and sign a new trust, so you can only do that here. You're only proven to do that here successfully. When you do that, they can no longer touch you. They can no longer jail you. They can no longer force you to pay money and all that. There's only one solution, and it's not their laws because they don't follow them. Do you get that? All debt. Every currency is tied to the dollar, the God we trust. So every soul, every human is enslaved to the bankers. Absolutely. That's all that's going on until you begin this work and start to change things. And we have to win this war. This is a spiritual battle against the devil and all the rest of these fallen angel things that look like humans. And they're going to lose, even if I have to do it by myself. But I appreciate your help. God bless our success in the name of Jesus Christ.